Hello, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and this is episode 48 of my Billions and Billions challenge. In today's episode, I'm going to set up a semi-large oil refinery in this building right here, and this building is actually very near to my main base, which is up here, and the building is down here. It is connected to the ME network, or the ME system that is at my main base, through a tunnel underneath this road here, so I have access to everything in my ME system, as well as having access to my wireless terminal here. So let's get started with actually building. So the first thing I'm actually going to build are the turbines at this base, because this base does have its own capacitor, which does not really have any power in it right now. So let's go ahead and grab some of the stuff that we need for that. I do already have some refined fuel made, and I'm going to be making a lot more of that in this episode, but I have a bunch of it because I did set up a system a long time ago when I was setting up my train, and I was using refined fuel for that as well. But this system I'm going to be building today is quite a bit bigger. So I am going to be using the mod advanced generators to generate power from the refined fuel that I'm going to be making today. So actually I'm going to go ahead and set up the generators first. Let's see, do I have everything? I do not. So let's grab some stone. Let's grab some fluid conduits. Let's also grab the conduit probe and some of this ender energy conduit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up, I think, 8 of these turbines here, and each one of them is going to be designed to produce 20,000 RF per tick, which is actually just under what the ender energy conduit can handle per connection. So that's cool. Each of my turbines I'm going to be setting up will have 40 of the Manulan turbines here, as well as some of these other blocks. So let's get actually started in crafting this, and let's actually kind of try to organize my inventory a little bit here, because what I want to do is have each thing on its kind of own spot down here. So let's see, okay, so I need one more thing here. So let me see here. The things that I need to actually have access to on the outside are going to be the fluid intake valve, the flux generator, and the controller. So we'll set those down first, and then the rest of this stuff can be on the interior. So actually, I forgot about this. So there's actually one more thing here. So let's go ahead and add this right here. So let's get started with actually building the turbines. Each turbine will have 50 blocks in it. So they're going to be I think 5x5x2 structure is how I'm going to make these. And actually, I might change that, because I could do 5 high. I could make these, that would look wonky. So let's just get started here. Let's just go with the plan of making these 5x5x2. So let's set down a controller here. Let's do a fluid intake valve on the left and the flux generator on the right. And then for each of these turbines, I'm going to have, let me do some math here. I think 4 of the fuel tanks. So I want these to be in the interior. So let's put them there. And then also on the interior, we need the fuel air mixer and the gas mix compressor, as well as a capacitor. And that's just to hold a little extra power. So let's go ahead and build the rest of this thing. These are the first 10 blocks, and the other 40 that I'm going to be using are just going to be these turbines here. And they are the block that actually creates the power. Each one of these does 500 RF per tick. So let's see here. So this should be a completed structure, and it should be able to produce 20,000 RF per tick, which is what it says here. We have 40 of the turbines. The fuel efficiency is adjusted by these 2 blocks right here, and so it's at 185%. Right now it doesn't have fuel or anything, and it doesn't have power. So what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and drop down this tank somewhere. And actually, this building isn't super going to be wide enough. I should have made it maybe a little bit wider. But let's go ahead and put this black hole tank. Let's put it back here for right now. That's not what I meant to do. So do I have this on single mode? I did. Let's get rid of that. Let's put our tank right here. And so what I'm going to do is let's grab the interfluid conduit and let's punch a hole right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be running some conduit down here. So this is the fluid intake valve. So let's go ahead and set that right there, and we'll tell that to insert. And then let's run this over, and then we'll just extract from right here. And that should start to pump fuel in, and it is now producing some power. So let's go ahead and get the power out of this. So let's grab our energy conduit, and let's run the energy conduit this way. And somewhere over here, I actually have a capacitor, and let me see, it's right here. So let me punch a hole right here. And actually what I should do is I should probably grab some more capacitor blocks. That way I can, because I'm actually going to need multiple connections for my energy conduit into the main capacitor. And that's because each connection can only handle 20,480 microinfinities per tick or RF per tick. So I'm going to need, if I'm going to have 8 turbines, I'm going to need 8 connections to my main capacitor. So let me grab 4 more of these. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this into the room by 4 blocks. So the capacitor is going to be here, and then on either side I'm going to have connections. So I'm going to run my energy conduit, say right here, and then right here. And let's go ahead and actually connect these up like that. And then we can just run this straight over to right here. So that should work out pretty well. Okay, so my capacitor should probably be done at this point. So let's go ahead and grab those if they are done. There they are. So all I want to do now is I just want to have these to be inserts, and actually I have a conduit probe right here, so let's go ahead and copy that, and then we can just paste that setting around. So all of these are just simply inserting energy into the capacitor, which is fantastic. At this point, okay, so I'm not sure. Maybe this conduit is not going to be able to pull out from the flux generator right there. So let me see if I can export directly to a capacitor, which might be something that I need to do, unfortunately. And actually, that's not going to work super well either, so let me try something else real fast. Let me grab a crescent hammer, or otherwise known as a wrench, and let me see if I can't manually connect this up. Okay, so let's just get rid of everything for a second, just so I can see things a little bit better here. So this is the flux generator. That is where I should be able to tap into. Can I manually connect this? I don't know why it's not letting me. That's odd. Let me grab the Yada wrench, because that might let me manually connect, since it is the... Okay, it's not. Interesting. Okay, so I am going to... I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move my flux generator to right here. So what we're going to do here is... let's go ahead and put a turbine, because I did get rid of one turbine block. Let's put one right there. And actually, I think I want to get rid of one more turbine block as well. Or one more other block. Actually, one more hidden turbine block. And so we can do that right. Okay, now I'm confusing myself, because I don't think that's actually what I want to do. Because I want to put my flux tap right... I want to put it right here. And so what block did I got rid of a tank block. That's what I got rid of. So I actually want the tank block to be over here. And I already have them in my hotbar. So let's put that there. And then I think there's one more block I need to replace with a turbine. So this should be 40 turbines again. Okay, so let's see if we can't tap into this with a capacitor block. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so that's not going to work either. I think we're going to have to use some cryostabilized flux duct, which that's still not super ideal. But what we can do is we can switch these two blocks here. So we can put the flux generator here. We can put the fuel air mixture here. And then we're going to need to grab a flux duct, and actually I'm going to need covers as well. And I think what we can do is we can run a flux duct from right here. Yeah, that taps in. I'm not really sure why the capacitors can't, but that's okay. So we're going to put this capacitor down here. There's going to be an explosion as soon as I set this down. Yeah. Okay, so if we go ahead and input, it should stop that, and then we just need to output to this face right here. And then we should be able to connect it up. Okay, so that was way too complicated. So this just is going to be an extract point, and it will be always on. It's always on by default, so let's go ahead and connect up the conduit here, and that would be the fluid conduit. So that is a capacitor that's running. It should give us power. It should be pumping it into here, and as we can see it is. So what I'm actually going to do right now is I'm going to build 7 more of these gas turbines. They are going to be set up the exact same way as this one right here. I'm probably going to build one of them here, one of them over here somewhere, another one over here, and then in the basement I'm going to build 4 more. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and once I have all of that done and all of the cables and everything routed, I will be right back. So I finally have all of my turbines done, and if we look at the capacitor right here, we can see that I'm getting 161,000 RF per tick essentially from the turbines, which is what we would expect. So it looks like everything is connected correctly and they are running. And if we come over here, we do look at the fuel going down fairly rapidly here, but we do have a lot of fuel. It's 240,000 buckets worth of refined fuel. So that's a lot. So let's actually get building the refinery, which I will start off on the top floor here. We should have 3 more floors above this. So we're going to start off with the refinery here. And I'm going to be using the mod thermal expansion for most of this. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual recipe here. So let's look at the refined fuel. You get refined fuel from naphtha here, and you get the naphtha from the fractioning still. From crude oil, and you get crude oil from, and actually I clicked on the wrong crude oil there. You get the crude oil from the magma crucible through oil shale or oil sand. Now, I do have a lot of that stuff, so let's go ahead and take a look at how much oil, sand, and shale I have. So it's a lot. It's 53 million sand and 51 million of the shale. It doesn't matter which one I use, it just matters that I have some of one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and use the oil sand. So I am in the top floor up here, and so let's actually get started on setting up some of the stuff. So first off, we're going to need magma crucibles. I already have them. Let's go ahead and actually set these up kind of facing backwards, and I'm going to have them, I'm actually going to use red print for this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this back row of blocks here. And that is because I need a place to lay down some conduit here. And so let's do that back here. So I need energy conduits to give them power. And it looks like it's actually thunderstorming outside, so that's kind of interesting. But I am in a desert, so it's not actually raining here, but I did see some lightning there. So I do need to connect this conduit up to my capacitor, which it should be over here somewhere. So I do need to run this across the room here. And I should be able to give the machines power this way. So let me click on this block right here and tell it to only output, and then we can connect this up pretty simply here. So I do already see a problem I'm going to run into in the future. So let me go ahead and tell my system to make some more of this ender energy conduit. Oh, never mind. I have a bunch of it left over, so that's cool. So what I'm going to do now is, you know what, I'm not going to set these up backwards. I don't think I'm going to ever need to build any more than the 20 that I'm going to lay down today. So what I'm going to do is, Let me grab my red print here. Actually, let me place down this first block. And these are configured as such. So I actually want to change this. Let's go ahead and tell these to be input and output through the top side here. That'll make things kind of easy. And let's go ahead and use the red print. Let's first blank this out. So it is blank now, and let's copy that setting and put this in our offhand. And now we can set down the magma crucibles. So one thing that I've already done, if you noticed, I have upgraded them to the resonance tier with a conversion kit and added 4 of the auxiliary reception coils, and that will just make them run a lot faster. So let's go ahead and place these bad boys down. There should be 20 of them, and that should be perfect. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some item conduits and some fluid conduits. And let's go ahead and run all of this conduit before we do anything else. And then let's run the fluid conduit next. And hopefully I don't double click anything here. So the cool thing about the conduit probe is you can copy all the settings of the conduits here. So what we're going to do with the item conduit is it's going to be insert on green, and then the fluid conduit will actually just be extract, and it will be always on green. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the conduit probe and we're going to copy these settings, and then we're going to paste them across. So we just got to do this about 19 times. And we just need to make sure that you have one arrow going in, one arrow going out. And that should be correct. So now what I need to do is I actually need to set up something to actually get the oil sand up here. And so I'm going to be using an ME export bus. And let me see, do I have any modular storage units? I don't actually have any prepared, but I can just go ahead and do that real fast because I do have access to my ME system right here. So let's go ahead and set this up. I think it'll probably be easiest if I do this right. Let's do it right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to need to do a little deletion here. So the export bus will actually be underneath, and I'm going to tell this to speed up as fast as possible and give it oil sand. And then let's throw what oil sand we have actually into here. But actually first I need to throw in the storage module, and then I can throw that in there. So let's actually set up the extraction method here. So let's grab this, tell this to be always on, and my magma crucible nearest should start at some points. So there we go. That's going to make crude oil. So I do want to speed that up. So let me see if I have some speed upgrades. I do. So that's cool. So let me grab these 15 speed upgrades and throw these in here so that we can get all of these magma crucibles going pretty quickly. Okay, so why is this one not going? That's really odd. That is super odd. So I didn't mess anything up over here, did I? Oh, duh. I don't have any more oil sand in there. Derp. So to fix that, what I need to do is I need to take this all the way down. And then we need to go over so that I can connect up to my ME system. So I know this is going to look a little wonky for right now, but I can facade this all up later. So I should have access to my ME system right here. And I do, it looks like. So let me grab the ME conduit. And I'm actually going to need more than that, I can already tell. So let me tell it to make some more of this stuff real fast. That should be pretty easy to make. And so what we're going to do is we are going to run this over and then up. So that should connect up automatically, and then we can just run this through the floor here. And let me make sure not to put it there, and then now we just need to run it straight up. Okay, that is, why are you not placing? There we go. So we have plenty of it now. Okay, so this should be able to connect up fairly easily here. I do need to put down this covered cable. And actually, I probably... Okay, I have enough facades here, so that's cool. So let me make that look all nice and neat. Let me see if I can't squeak through there. I can, so that's cool. So let me see. If I go ahead and use my wrench here, I should be able to reconnect that. So that's cool. Fantastic. So I think that that looks pretty neat. As neat as I can get it anyways for right now. Nope. Take that back. I have one more side here that I can facade up. Okay, cool. And so the rest of this, I can just use these conduit facades that are painted. And I'm not going to worry about that right now. I can do that later. So this should connect up at some point in the very near future, and then we should start getting more of this oil sand into here, and then we get more crude oil, so that's cool. So let's drop down below and start working on the next step, which is going to be a very similar system, except with fractioning stills. And these fractioning stills, okay, so I hear some magma crucibles going, so that's a good sign. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and do the next two, because these are going to be, these two levels are going to be set up pretty much identically. They're just going to be, one's going to be crude oil into naphtha, and then the other one's going to be naphtha into refined fuel. So let's find the capacitor, which should be right here. And so now we need to run this over, and I keep getting the wrong blocks here. And then let's do the above as well. Okay, so let me connect or tell this to be output only. And actually, it would probably be smarter if I did this first, because then I can make sure that I'm actually output. Okay, so that's cool. And then this right here, let's go ahead and do that as well. This needs to be output only. So let's run this conduit over. And then run it underneath here. And then we'll do above as well. And I might run out of this conduit, but I do have more in the ME system, so it's not really that big of a deal. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it, and I didn't prevent it anyways. Okay, so I need a few more here. That should be just about it for the energy conduit for this episode, though. So that's cool. Let's get rid of this, because we do need to actually put something here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slap down all of my fractioning stills. All of my fractioning stills are set up the same, and will need to be set up the same. So the fractioning stills have the reflux column augment, and what that does is it just improves the amount of naphtha and then refined fuel that you get from your fractioning still here. So let's take a look at the recipe. So without the reflex column, you actually get a little bit less of the naphtha from the crude oil than you put in. So for example, if you don't have this augment in the fractioning still, every 200 millibuckets of crude oil would actually give you 150 millibuckets of naphtha rather than 200. But yeah, you get 200 out of the 200 that you put in if you do have the reflex column. So I do have that in all of the fractioning stills here. Obviously, they are upgraded, or they are converted to the resonance tier, so that's why I have 4 augments. And they have 3 of the auxiliary reception coils just to speed them up as much as possible. So let's go ahead and grab this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is let's go ahead and tell this to be input and extract from the top. And then I'm going to clear or blank it out, and then let's go ahead and copy this. And now I can start throwing down all my fractioning stills. And these two levels will be, they will look pretty much identical. So let me go, I need to go down, not up. Okay, now on top, once again, we're going to be using item conduit and the fluid conduit, which I might need to grab more of. And actually, let's just go ahead and grab more conduit in general. Okay, that should be more than enough item conduit, to be honest. Okay, so the conduits are actually going to need to be set up just a little bit differently on each level. Let's go up and set up the item conduit up here. And then we can do the fluid conduit. Okay, so that was kind of odd, but that's okay. Looks like we laid down everything okay. I do need to be careful to make sure to actually get all of this conduit laid down properly. Okay, so that's cool. And then down here, let's do this one. Okay, so let's go back up here and let's set up the conduits here. What I'm going to do for the conduit connections is, let's actually figure that out first. So I think what I can do is I can run it over here and then run it down through this, where I'm already going to use facades there, so I might as well just use this. And then we can run this down. And then let's just run it over from here. Okay, so what I need to do here is on the fluid, we need to insert on green, but we are going to need to extract on brown, and that will need to be always on. For the item conduit, we are going to be extracting because we are going, oh, I didn't mean to do that. We are going to be making a waste product here that I don't need, and that is the tar. So that'll be extract on, let's go ahead and do the brown channels as well for the item conduit here. And let's go ahead and put a black hole unit right here, and this will be for the tar. So let's go ahead and set up the item conduit here. And so this will need to be insert on the brown channel, and that is tar, so fantastic. Let's go ahead and grab the conduit probe. Let's go ahead and copy this, and then we need to paste it across. Oh, so that didn't work. So why did you not copy? Okay, so you're not actually pasting. Okay, you are. So for whatever reason, this is not updating, which is kind of odd because usually it does. It was earlier anyways. Let me double check that everything is... Okay, so that's super odd, but it does look to be working. For whatever reason, it's just not visually showing up. Okay, so that's cool. Everything should be connected up. Let me double check here. It does look like it's working because the tar is coming over here and the naphtha is filling up. So what I want to go ahead and do now is let's go ahead and do this level. So on the item conduit, let's do extract on the blue channel because here we are going to be making sulfur as a waste product. And then the fluid conduit here needs to be insert on brown and then extract on blue. So let's go ahead and copy this and let's paste this across. So I don't know why the visuals weren't taking effect up here. Okay, now they are. So everything looks good. That was just really weird that it wasn't taking effect like it visually anyways. So let's go ahead and do the rest of these before we actually hook it up to the floor above. And let's go ahead and set up the black hole unit as well. And the item conduit for that. And this will be insert on blue. And let's see here. So I think we just need the fluid conduit and we need to connect that up. And I think these should get going. Yes. Okay, so we're getting refined fuel, so that's fantastic. So now what we need to do is we need to get the refined fuel into this bad boy right here. Which, let me see here. I think we'll be able to do fairly easily actually. So if we just run this down and around, I have in that block space it looks like. So actually this is coming in here. It actually should go all the way over there. So what I need to do now is, let's get this out. Let's tell this to be insert on blue, I believe. That should be, Yes, that looks to be working because the flow or the amount was going up and down there. So looks like everything's set up like it should be. So let me double check that everything's working like it should be. It looks like it is. All these machines, they have their interfaces. It looks like they're active anyways. So that's cool. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and clean everything up with a bunch of facades because right now everything's kind of ugly and open. And once I have everything cleaned up, I will be right back. So I have everything straightened up and looking pretty good. So one thing I should point out is that the magma crucibles are actually a lot faster than the rest of the system. So most of the time, only the first 2 or 3 magma crucibles are running. And so that's, I guess, maybe not super ideal, but that's okay. These fractioning stills down here are all running. Actually, not all of them are running because some of them are still backed up by all of the fractioning stills on this level because this seems to be the slowest part of the process. But that's okay, to be honest. It looks like we're running fairly evenly in terms of refined fuel here. If we just take a look at this for a while, it does look to be fluctuating up and down quite a bit. I'm not really sure if I'm going positive or negative, but it's close enough for right now. So one more thing I'd like to do in this episode is really simple at this point is let's take a look at where my capacitor is, and should be up here. So my capacitor is actually filling up pretty quickly, but I do have somewhere for this energy to go, and that would be to some void ore miners that are in the basement down here. So I have 4 more of these guys, and actually before I hook these up, I have 98 tier 6 void ore miners running full time, and this will be 102, so that's going to be fantastic. So if we take a look here, take a look at the Cyan ender chests. I'm getting a lot of stuff, as well as the I'm using white, yellow, white as another ender chest to send stuff to my main ME system. I'm getting quite a bit of stuff at this point. So what, I have 102 of these running full time, 100%. So 102 times 20, because they get 20 items per second. It's 1 item per tick, 20 ticks to a second, obviously. So I'm getting something like 102 times 20 items per second. So that's obviously a lot of items. It's over 2,000, I think. So yeah, I'm getting all of that per second. So let's take a look at my progress so far in the series. It's actually been 8 days since I've recorded anything, and I haven't been doing a super good job of keeping you guys updated on my progress so far, but I do have over 1 billion iron ingots at this point, so that's pretty fantastic. And I actually have over 650 million of everything else. I have 678 million gold ingots, 664 million diamonds, and 650 million emeralds as well. So the progress with the items is coming along quite well. I'm not sure about the rates for most of this stuff, to be honest, per day, but I think my diamond rate is somewhere around 18 million per day. My emerald rate is probably a little bit behind of that, and obviously the iron rate is the best as I have the most of it out of these 4 things that I'm trying to get 1 billion of. I also have over 1 billion redstone and 1 billion lapis. I'm actually going to have to do something about the redstone, because the black hole unit actually can only hold like 2.1 billion of each item, and so that black hole unit is actually almost filled. So progress is going really well in the series. It will probably wrap up within the month, because my rates are so good as far as acquiring new materials. So that is pretty fantastic. If you enjoyed today's episode where I set up this oil refinery and the turbines in this building to power those 4 new void ore miners, definitely give this video a like. And if you like watching automation type stuff in modern Minecraft, definitely consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, because that's typically what I do. Anyways, signing off, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and I will see you next time.